have the great honor and pleasure of introducing Swagg Arcelius here today with us at Songathon. Swagg's bio is incredibly long. I'm going to try to highlight.
Don't read that.
He's a Grammy-winning songwriter, producer, and vocalist. He's signed to Sony ATV. He has worked with Babyface, American Authors, Her, Wale, Alicia Keys, Neo. So pretty much the list goes on and on and on. Congratulations, first of all, on your recent success.
Always weird hearing that read.
I guess my first question is very fundamental. Why do you make music?
Because I love it. It's the thing that I think about when I wake up and the thing I think about other than my wife and kids when I go to sleep. So yeah, it's important to me.
Great answer. So when you walk into a room with an artist you've never met before, what's your process like? Here at Songathon, a lot of songwriters are meeting for the first time. They're writing in groups of 3. Do you have a process?
Yeah, for me, it always starts with a conversation. I like to get to know who I'm working with, and sometimes conversation writes the song. I never force the creative process. It's like, hey, how are you? You know, what's going on in your life? And just kind of open that window or that door of comfortable, you know, and make sure that everyone in the room knows that you can be comfortable with me and I'll be comfortable with you and I respect you, your creative space, and, you know, vice versa. So it's kind of my process, just really opening that door of, hey, you know, let's just chat a little bit and, you know, see what happens. So, you know, that's my process.
Cool. So when was the first time you wrote music with people you didn't know?
Ooh, the first time, this is years ago. I want to say, honestly, it started in college. Because in high school and growing up, I come from a big family. I'll try to run through this really fast. I have 7 siblings, 4 brothers and 3 sisters, and we all do music. So we did me and my brothers had a band when we were younger, a Christian band. And so I wrote with them a lot. It took me a minute to kind of find where I fit in the bunch. I'm the 7th of 8. So, you know, yeah. So everybody sang and played and did all this stuff. And so I was just kind of dabbling, trying to figure out myself. But then I fell into poetry and writing. So I wrote with them a lot. And then in college, I realized, even though the band was still going on, that's when I realized I really loved being behind the scene more, and writing and producing and collaborating. So I think my first real co-write with someone I didn't know had to have been in college. Yeah.
How did you meet her, and what was your process like working together?
Okay, cool. So I met her through her management when she was, I want to say 13. And I interned for the management company for a while when I first moved to New York. And you know, from there they heard stuff, and then I became more of an intricate part on their creative team. And so I met her around 13, and I engineered her first session. She came to New York, and she kind of threw the studio to see what's up. And so we just clicked. You know, then she became like a little sister to me immediately. And so that's how we met, and she just became really close. And again, just that inviting environment that I tried to set. She felt really comfortable talking about her life, what she was going through. So it really became a big brother, little sister type of relationship, and that's how we were able to create as well.
Can you tell us more about Progressive Music Group and how that came to be?
Yeah, so for a while I was trying to, you know, I always been fascinated with the business as a whole and wanted to do more than just be a producer and songwriter, but also identify talent, help develop it, also collaborate and develop producers and songwriters. So it actually started as Sub-Zero Entertainment with me and my brother. And then that developed where we did musical direction for artists and production, and then that evolved. He continued the music production part of it and developed Spectrum Entertainment. So we kind of split off. We still work very closely. together, and then I got more involved on the production side, and then just always wanted to push culture and music, in my mind anyway. And so that's kind of where progressive came from and where it was birthed from, just like forward thinking, forward moving, and just not neglecting the past, understanding the past, but pushing it forward. So that's how progressive music kind of came along. So yeah.
Is there a specific way that you approach your career that you think has led to your success?
I think I go in with an open mind. I think that's probably it. Like, I try not to get stuck in a certain way of doing things. I find myself more creative if I start differently. Of course, we are creatures of habit, so you go in, you have to fight that urge to say, okay, this is how I write a song. I'm gonna write my verse, I'm gonna write my pre, I'm gonna write my hook, or I start with my hook. For me, I try to mix it up. Sometimes it's concept, sometimes it's no track, or not even writing the music, it's just lyrics first, and then doing the music. Sometimes I write the track first. And in that process, sometimes it's melody, sometimes it's drums first. So for me, I just kind of go open-minded and just let the creativity flow versus trying to control it so much, and then kind of go back and refine it. So yeah, that's my process. Convention.
So leading from that over to, do you have any advice for songwriters? We have a ton of talented songwriters here in the room today that are in search of a deal, whether that's a pub deal or a record deal today.
Advice on the searching aspect, from the searching. I mean, just write great songs. I think first and foremost, if you don't have to take a co-publishing deal, don't rush and do it. Of course, the more leverage you have, the more things you have going for you, the better those deals are structured for you. So I always say, listen, if you don't need the money, or if you don't need certain things, if you're able to move around and get things happening, just explore that first and foremost. And if you're doing it right, they will find you. Trust me. Everyone wants to be in business with a winner, right? So just continue to write great music. And also, don't be afraid to collaborate with your local community or local artists that you believe in, and develop that as well. Because a lot of times if you break things, you have a little bit more leverage than just like anybody can, get a cut. Well, not anybody can get a cut, but if you get a cut on Rihanna, of course it's going to be successful, right? But if you're able to create the next Rihanna, or be a part of creating the next Rihanna, you have a little bit more leverage business-wise, and you can explore things beyond just getting cuts or chasing cuts. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, so speaking of the next Rihanna, who are some of the up-and-coming artists that you're watching right now that you think are...
Wow, there's so many. It's a young lady in LA named Claudette. What's her name? Is it Claudette Rush? Claudette? I'm screwing up her name. No, but she's dope too. I mess with her. I don't have my phone, I'm crippled. But yeah, that's her. And then there's a young lady I'm working with, Sherry Marie. It's like urban pop. That's really cool. I just came across a young lady, I think her name is Destiny Stereotypes. She signed to Stereotypes, she's fire. Alex the Kid has a new female artist as well that's really, really dope. I don't know, I'm just like on the gram, Spotify. There's so many like people that I just think are really killing. Yeah, you just have to follow me and you'll probably see me post some stuff. Yeah, I don't have my phone, so I can't like look through it. I'm sorry.
No worries, we can look. I guess the last question for me is, what's a mistake? And I don't really like using that word, because I know everybody has their own kind of way of doing things. But what's a common pitfall, mistake you see a lot of aspiring songwriters and producers making today?
Being afraid to make mistakes. I think, and I know that's like, whoa. But that's the truth. I think, again, it goes back to the concept of like just not having a certain way of approaching things. Like, oh, well, I know this is a hit because blah, 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 blah. I think first and foremost is to write what's real to you, and then go back and analyze it versus trying to analyze the song as you're writing it, because sometimes you can analyze it out of a feel, out of something really cool. So I think that's the the common mistake I see a lot of young writers do is like, especially going into sessions of the unknown, is like not being able to be yourself. You know, you're afraid that being yourself is not enough. And I know that sounds like, you know, wow, that's really deep, and it's really not. It's just human nature. When you go in with somebody you don't know and you respect, or the opportunity, you don't want to mess it up. So you're like, and then you don't write a great song. So I think most important is to define who you are as a writer and be confident in that and bring that to every session or every write that you have.
Thank you so much. Super helpful.